So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of you on the bridge. We'll probably have more joining in. So welcome you to the third session of Know Your KM Tech. We are going to talk about smart AI agents today, led by Moria, Rudolf, and Jayadatta. So we've had a couple of other sessions on Know Your KM Tech series. Right, the first one was on Gen AI, and the second one was on Copilot for SharePoint. So I can see there are some names who may not be familiar with KM Global Network. So let me share a slide and talk you through what KM Global Network is all about. Are you able to see the slides? Yeah. So as some of you would be aware of, some may not be, that Knowledge Management Global Network is a network of networks, has been in existence since 2014, and we have presence in 38 countries with 23 formal knowledge management networks as part of KMGN. Our mission is to make collective impact, and our vision is to bring prosperity to organizations and society through knowledge management. So, as part of various activities that we undertake in KMGN to take forward this mission and vision, we have various events, projects, activities that we organize through the year. So, some of the examples are shown over here. We have an industry KM Wiki where we are looking at knowledge management imperatives for specific industry sectors. So, we have started with oil and gas, and we'll be picking up others. We conduct an annual KMGN course, which is curated by practitioners within KMGN itself. And every year we have a theme. So we've been doing it since 2021. And this year's course ended in July with the theme of came from strategy to impact. We have a research community led by Vincent. KMGN course is led by Moria. KMGN research community, where we have these research roundtables with topics that are of academic interest as well as practical interest. So this is held approximately every alternate month. We do announce all of these events in the KMGN LinkedIn channel and through other media as well. We have something called KMGN Author Dialogues. So we started with Tom Davenport, and the next one is going to happen on 2nd of September. So not very far from today. With Dr. Nagyub Chaudhary on the knowledge flow. So basically, we get some leading authors who have written on KM, innovation, AI, or the intersection, and have a conversation with them. So this is led by Madan Mohan Rao from India. Know Your KM Tech. This is something that we are in right now. We also had a ISO 30401 toolkit readied by KMGN. Again, there were multiple members from many different networks and countries who got together to look at how can we take the standards forward and implement it in an organization. We are starting a project called KM for Sustainability. So we have Rodolphe over here, who's a key member of this particular project. So even before the session started, Ian was talking of the unseasonal rains, and Moria was talking of all the weather changes that are happening. So KM for Sustainability will look at various resources that are available on climate change, etc., and how do we really apply KM principles to that to make it available on a wider scale. So we also have something called the Knowledge Management Global Week. So this is something that was again initiated by KMGN because we did not have anything to celebrate knowledge during the year. As opposed to, for example, you have an International Women's Day or you have an International Yoga Day kind of a thing. So we thought we'll come up with something called the KM Global Week. And that's held in the third week of October every year. So this year, again, there are lots of activities being planned across networks and countries, across organizations. Moria is leading this effort and look forward to a lot of you who are here in this particular meeting also contribute in your own little way. Thank you. So coming back to the session for which we have gathered together, Know Your KM Tech, and I'll hand over now to Moria. So Moria is probably known to all of you. She's the chief executive of a KM consulting firm called ROM Global. But more than that, she has been the prime driver of KM Global Network. She has been the prime driver of ISO standards in knowledge management. and she's really passionate about the whole subject. So over to you, Moria, to take us through the KM Know Your KM Tech session today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that that's now time for me to leave after all the glory, because higher than that I won't get today at least. But if everyone's already here, so let's try and share our screen. Where are we? Just a minute. Share my screen, share my presentation, and go to show. Do you see it now in the showing mode? Yes.
Yes, we
Wonderful.
do.
So thank you, Ved, for approaching and asking me to run a webinar on AI smart agents. And I'll say that I will be leading this session, facilitating this session today. However, in the agenda, besides the KMGN opening and a short discussion about what are AI agents, how do they fit in the AI infrastructure, and what are the different types of AI agents. Among them, we will later on dive into one specific type, which I may call expertise agents or smart agents. You asked me to show demonstrations. So, and everything, all these requests were based on a course that we give in, we provide in by ROM Global. So I went to two of our students, one from 2025, Jayadatta, and one from 2026, and one from 2025, Rudy. But these are not only students, they are very well respected KMers by themselves, leading big activities, big initiatives of KM, and that they are coming, each one of them, to learn and to take it on and to bring it to new horizons and newer capabilities is really my, I won't say only my satisfaction, but it's my honor that they took our course. And from here, and you'll see what they have done. And these are only examples because we had a handful of examples, or a few handful of examples. So I chose to bring them today with us. So we will see. I see that I have a mistake here. Aspens should be with capitalized letters. So we have Jayadatta and Rudy. So I'll give a short opening on AI agents. We'll speak about types of AI agents. We'll see 3 demonstrations. I also demonstrate one of the things that we did with one of our customers. And at the end, we will have a session sharing some of the tips for developing smart AI agents. And if we will still have time at the end of all this, we will answer the questions or hear the comments of the audience. Just one question, Ved, are we recording this session? Is the recording working?
Yes, we are, and the recording is working. So we'll
Yes,
be
because
posting the recording as well in the KMGN YouTube channel with the playlist for Know Your KM Tech.
wonderful.
Thank you.
I'll tell you why I asked, because I always forget to open the recording. So it's a good thing that you are more organized than I am. So when we look at AI in organizations, we have several types of solutions. And when you go to an organization and say, yes, we apply AI as part of our solutions, or even as part of our KM solutions, it means almost nothing, because you don't understand when they say we apply AI, what do they actually mean? It's as if they would say, yes, we apply management, or yes, we apply computing systems. So I want to look at it and speak about 3 main categories of different types of solutions. One of them would be what we call general platforms, general AI platforms, or general AI tools. We will find here a broad set of tools that can help us hold conversation, to search, to retrieve, to process our knowledge, to code, to create content, and more. And you can see some of these examples of these platforms like GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, of course, Notebook LM, Azure AI Search, Copilot Studio. And you see these are different types, but they are all platforms. This is very important because this will be the base for our of our discussion today, because we will be speaking about these platforms and looking specifically on one of the capabilities that some of these hold, building AI agents. They are part of the general platforms. Aside of these general platforms, we find two additional categories. One of AI tools that are designated for specialized or specific tasks. For example, if I look at Gamma is for building presentations. Yes, I can go to a general platform like Gemini and ask it also for help in building a presentation. But if I want something very specific with functionality that is designed and very excellent and very focused on presentations, I may go to Gamma or to Canva. The same thing with Napkin for infographics. And I can go on and on. So there are specific tools that are designated for specific tasks. And that doesn't say that the general tools the general platforms cannot help with them. But it means that they are very good in what they do. It's like if we compare building a table in Excel or building a table in Word. You can do it in both, but the capabilities, the functionality that I would get for tables in Excel, of course, is much higher. And the third type, so do I need these? Yes, if I need high-level presentations or higher level presentations or higher level research for Proximity or higher level infographics for Napkin. But if I will settle for 8 or 8.5 or 9, I can go to the general platform. So these are two categories. And what is the third one? The third one is something else that it's as if we're not buying anything, not entering new software into the organization, but we are looking at the existing software, the existing system that we already have, and understanding that they, for themselves, are adding AI capabilities that are embedded into these existing systems. So if you have a knowledge management system, and tomorrow they say, yes, we embedded AI into it, that means that they themselves are working better. And today we find it in anything we do, starting with Grammarly for spelling or for writing, and going on with 365 Copilot, which is also, you can look at it as a platform, but we already have it. So I put it in the third one, and on, and generally on and on. Zoom added all kinds of capabilities, etc., etc. And why didn't I put here Canva? Because Canva upgraded itself 3 levels at least. It's not the Canva we were used to 5 years ago. It's something else, totally something else today. The same thing goes with Grammarly. So it doesn't go for Grammarly. So Grammarly is the same options, but they are better working because of AI. So once we understood these 3 categories, and please, Ved, if there are questions or comments while we speak, please help me and shout out, because I'm so concentrated on these slides that I won't see the comments.
Sure, Moria.
Thank you. So if we now understood the different categories of tools, let's go into the first category of platforms and look into one of their capabilities, which we called agents, or specifically, these are AI agents because they are artificial and not real agents in life, like in change management agents. So what is an AI agent? It's a component that is designed to achieve a defined goal through the combination of 3 optional components, may I say. Business rules. These are instructions that we give it. Knowledge. Its content, its text that it reads and it retrieves and it understands from it, may answer a question. And actions. Now, these 3 types, these 3 components, you can mix and match. However, each one gives us a flavor of a different type of agent. For example, my dear friend Ron Young, one of the first things he's done, he's built an AI knowledge-based agent, which is based on his book, which he wrote, one of the books he's written, where he's telling the people and telling the agent to ask questions on the book, or to ask what would be my answer based on the character's way of thinking, the character's way of doing, the character's framework of life, etc., etc. So when I retrieve knowledge and I build an AI agent that will help me to retrieve knowledge, to retrieve content, that is a specific type. And that's not exactly like business rules. Now, this is very confusing because we can mix the words. These are types, but when we think about knowledge, we think also about thoughts and expert understandings. But when we write here based on knowledge, we mean text that is written, that it can be retrieved and can be answered based on the content that is understood. So this brings us to three modes of operation. As I said, these are three flavors. They are not really separated because you can take, it's like if you go to, now everyone was on vacation in August, or many people were on vacation on August. So if I go to Europe and I eat a good restaurant, it doesn't mean that I went to Michelin trip. Or if I buy something in one of the shops, it doesn't mean I was on a shopping journey. So when we speak about the flavor, we speak about the main aspect of that AI agent. So when we speak about the three, the first one, we'll call it data and knowledge, RAGs. That's what I referred to in the example a few minutes ago, where we can query and learn from focused knowledge repositories. It's very important for us as KMers. However, I'll say the truth, it's not interesting. It's not interesting because it's so easy to build that our users, together with the IT people, or sometimes together with some code generator, can build it without us, leaving us as KMers outside the loop. So as much as I am in favor of RAGs, I know that they won't bring me work, and I love it that I'll have more knowledge management, but I remember that it's knowledge management that is done without me, so I'm looking for my work in other places. So I would be in favor of building it, but I understand that many times the organization can do it without me. The same way that I don't go to an organizational consultant, OD person, for every question. As a manager, I know how to handle 80% of the questions myself without going to an expert. So that's the case here. While there is knowledge management, there's no need for a knowledge manager in the loop. I'll continue to the second type. The second type is what we call automation. Many of you may have been familiar with what we called in the past few years RPAs, robot process automations, where we find the automation of actions where we can execute an action or set of actions again and again and again. For example, if Ved mentioned the research community of KMGN, I have a skill that automates the process of going through my email every day, and even more than one time a day. And among other things, I have a specific skill which looks for names, for notifications from Eventbrite for people who had registered to a KMGN research community meeting. What does that skill do? First of all, it finds one of these. Then it looks to what specific meeting did that person register, because we have 5 different meetings a year. So first of all, we put them and we see if he is invited or not invited. So it then goes to my calendar and checks if the person is invited or not invited yet to that meeting. And if he or she are not invited, it will add them in. Then we want to see if that person is part of our community, because not like these meetings of today, when we speak about the community, we are building a community. So we register all these people also to the community so that they know what is happening, so that they are invited to places, so that they can join our WhatsApp, etc., etc. So this skill will also, after finding the person, finding the event, registering the person to the event, it will also register it to our community in some different list and write it there. So that's only one example of one skill of automation. It is really very boring. It is a set of technical activities that I would do myself. And yes, I have a lot of work as one of the KMGN secretaries. So I have a lot of work in these type of events, how to hold, how to see that people are registered and where are they sitting and where do we write them down, etc. But this is really not the business of KM. We can use it also in some cases, but we know that it is a type of an AI agent that usually a IT department will build, and we will stay outside the loop. I'm continuing to the third type. This is the type that we are, because of it, we are here today to speak about the smart agents, the expertise agents. And if anyone has a better name for these, please come on and share it with us, because I'm still looking for the best name. And let me explain what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about an agent that will provide professional guidance to decision-making, to the decision-making process, as if we have an expert behind our shoulder that is asking us questions when we're trying to do something, guiding us as to the direction, how to work, and together with us, thinking better, acting better, and deciding better. These are our smart AI agents. So now, instead of adding more and more sentences and explanations, we will start by seeing 3 demonstrations of our people who really have learned, have built, and took it to new heights of ideas of how to use AI agents for smart needs. So we will see Jayadatta from AFCON, we will see Rudy from Innerwin, and then I will describe one of the agents that we've built from one of our project, a very large, huge project-based company in Israel. So I'll stop my sharing, and I want to pass it to Jayadatta. Is Jayadatta here?
Moria. Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
hi, Jayadatta. As I said, Jayadatta was a student in our 2026 course, but I want to say he's the type of KM that is so big and so knowledgeable that he knows when he learns something new to learn from others, and then again take it to new heights and to new things. So I learn back for him even much more. Jayadatta, please start.
Thank you. Thank you, Moria. You're very kind. So thank you, Moria. Thank you, Ved, for having me here. I'll just quickly share my screen. Can you just confirm this is visible?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, thank you. Ved, just give me a heads up when I'm about to complete my allotted time, please. Okay, so this agent, which I had developed as part of the coursework, this is actually based on a multi-agent architecture And before I get into the details of the agent itself, I just want to reflect on what prompted me to develop this agent. The idea was that we were collecting a lot of resources from our experts in forms of case studies, lessons, digests. We were doing podcasts with the idea of getting them to talk about their experiences and therefore, in some way, convert their tacit knowledge into an explicit knowledge, which we can then use for our projects. So I'm part of Afcon's infrastructure. We are one of India's largest EPC construction firms, and we do a lot of technically challenging niche projects in the field of civil engineering. So for these projects, one of the key areas from a management point of view is how do we quickly develop domain expertise in the younger generation of engineers? How do we get them to ramp up their expertise? And when I was reflecting on that problem, in terms of content, we of course had a lot of content, but the idea was how do I get them to internalize the content? Because people were reading the case studies, they were reading the lessons learned, they were going to the e-learning modules, but were they actually internalizing the key takeaways was a question mark, because we could still see some places where defects and issues were occurring. So when I look at that entire loop, I said if I have to get them to internalize, I need them to reflect upon the situation. And one way is, of course, I can pull them into a classroom and make them sit and discuss these things. But if I want to do it on demand, and in this case, leverage the use of AI, what can I do? So the thought process then went on to saying that if I want them to internalize, I want them to reflect, then is there a way in which I can simulate the environment for the learner, wherein I get him to feel the exact same things which the expert felt when he took certain decisions, simulate the scenario for him, make him think through the scenario, and then from that basis, get him to reflect on the key takeaway. So having come to this way, this was one part. So how do I simulate the scenario for him? That was one part. The second is now, how do I generate the scenario in the first place? So as I said, this is a multi-agent architecture. So the first part of the agent is what I call as the TK extraction agent, which is the knowledge distillation bin that you see. It has three sub-agents: the extraction analyst, the cognitive analyst, and a scenario architect, which is governed by a master orchestrator. So in this case, what actually happens is we can take a collection of documents related to a particular domain, and this can be typically in the forms of your PDFs, Word files. They can also be audio files. They can be your video files. We can put them through this agent. The agent does its magic at the back end. Basically, it's a series of prompts which have been run through. And the orchestrator selects which prompt it wants to pick up to do which section of the distillation. So the extraction analyst is basically trying to retrieve factual information from the content which has been given to it. The cognitive analyst then when looks at the content and starts to identify, are there any hidden biases? Are there any red herrings in the content which is there? And finally, the scenario architect stitches all of it together into a form which is a machine readable scenario. So the first agent's job is just to take the raw content and convert it into a form which the second agent can use. And the second agent, which I call the TK simulator, which I'm going to demonstrate, is the one which does the entire experiential learning loop. So it will take the scenario generated by the first agent. It will put you inside the scenario. So it will choose one of the scenarios, put you inside the scenario. It will interact with you to give you a flavor of this. So that's the overview. Now let me take you inside the agent. Let me just show you that. Right. So this is the second part, the TK simulation agent, and the input that goes into the agent are these scenarios. As I said, the first agent generates these scenarios. So I won't be demonstrating the first agent because basically I just have to put the content and this file comes out. So there's nothing for me to show per se. But so if you see, the scenario is basically uh, identifying a dilemma, certain clues, certain biases, so what expert action, etc. that has been taken. Coming to the agent, you start the simulation. And here, what I've seen the benefit here is because of the generative capabilities of the modern LLMs, it can string a very nice story. It can spin a very nice story around this, the core dilemma. So it gets you to experience that particular situation. Okay, so let me just start this. Okay, this has been built on Gemini Enterprise, but the concept more or less remains the same. So the prompts can be taken to anything like ChatGPT or Claude or to any other agent system that you may want to have.
3 minutes.
Okay, so it has generated the scenario. It says that there is some rain which is happening and the regional project manager is breathing down your neck. We have a restricted corridor for some high embankments and the schedule is bone crushing. Now there is an extremely attractive proposal showing that we need to implement RSS wall. This is a particular technique of doing slope retention, which will be 3 times cheaper than building standard concrete toe walls. The headquarters has sent an official off-site design approval, which mathematically models the stability. Furthermore, consultants are saying that a 30 layer of soil will naturally stabilize the slope. The client is pushing hard to start the construction. You have arrived on site. What is your first move? Right? So now it has put me into this scenario. It has given me certain parameters I need to understand. Using these parameters, now I am trying to, as a learner, trying to give my response. And let's see what it says back. So, okay, having seen this, I'll say that, okay, I'm new to the site. So I want to see the geotechnical design. Okay. With this input and whatever the scenario has been built in the background, it will go back into the loop and now try to respond to me. Now, when it responds to me, there are certain guardrails which have been put into place. One, it does not go onto the internet to find information. It has to restrict itself to the scenario so that we are not giving some information which is outside the context. Second, it will also put the pressure of not having information. So when you are in the real life scenario, you don't have the luxury of having all the information with you. So it will put you into that pressure as well, right? So with this question from the scenario, these are some of the responses it has come up with. Okay, now let me ask another question. Why are the panel angles so steep? The agent has 3 distinct phases. The first one is the dilemma, which is the case study which was suggested to me. We are currently in the second phase, which is the diagnosis phase, wherein as I keep on asking the questions, it will keep on giving me this information, but it will keep on prompting me to take a decision. And at one particular point in time, it will enforce me that I now need to take a decision, right? Okay, so it's given some other parameters. It says that the approved drawings are showing that the panels need to be installed without any V-pulls, etc., etc. Okay.
Jayadatta, can you speed up, please?
Yeah, I think just a
Is there
couple of
two
more
more
questions
minutes?
and
Sure.
yeah, no problem. Okay, so now it's limiting the information and it's now forcing me to take action, right? Okay, so it's saying that it has been modeled, it's confirmed, it's validated, you must proceed without it. So I say, fine, let's start the construction. So the first phase was the dilemma. The second phase was the diagnosis, This is the third phase, which is the consequence engine. Here, it is now going to simulate the future, right? So it will say that now you've taken a decision. Based on the decision that you've taken, what has been the result? So it says that the supervisor is calling you in panic. The panels have started to tilt outwards. The entire slope is on verge of collapse. Okay. Demolish the construction and start again. So I've taken a decision. It has projected the decision in the future. And now it's told me that your decision was wrong. So the final stage that this will come to is the debrief, right? And this is the final stage, which is the debrief. So here, if you see what it does is the agent looks at what are the decisions that I have taken, right? It will question that why did you take these decisions? At the same time, it tells me what did the expert do in real time. So it says that the expert immediately picked on the lack of V pulls. Why did you not think of it? What was the intuition which led them to look for these things instead of going ahead with the approvals, right? And then it gives you the key takeaway that you need to do, right? So once the face gets burnt, the head also gets burnt. Saving money on critical geotechnical interfaces is false economy. Trying to solve a hydrostatic problem with flexible unreinforced panels is bound to fail. And in the end, it has come to a place where it has compared the actions that I have taken with the actions of the expert. It has given me what actions the expert took, how did he eventually resolve the situation, and then what is the learning that I need to take back home for myself? What is that I need to remember next time the similar situation occurs? And then now I can start a new scenario, right? So that's it from me, folks. I hope this was useful for you.
Very much. And we are running from you straightly to Rudi. Rudi, one of my dearest friends and colleagues, partner among many projects. Please show your example.
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we'll give you less
So
time, 8 minutes or 7 minutes.
don't
And I'll
worry.
take even
Don't
less
worry.
so that we stand time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So one of the talents that I have is designing games or gamification, and I wanted to create a game genie. So my whole thought process was, how do I get an agent to actually mimic my creative thought process? So it's pretty complex. I spent quite maybe sometimes a month, 2 months on designing a game. So that was what I wanted it to do. So can I convey my belief that gamification must deliver on business objectives? Can during a gamification program, so my belief is that gamification should deliver business results. Also, during the program, people need to get trained. So these are some of the fundamental beliefs that I have when designing any gamification program. Okay, the other thing is that it has to be relevant to the user. So in India, it's about cricket. Globally, it's football, and maybe in US it could be baseball, whatever. So in my son, etc., and the younger generation now play board games. So how do we get in all those things? So and as an output, can it deliver an elegant output that I normally would deliver in terms of a clever game design? It demonstrates business alignment. Okay, it creates a motivating scorecard, and it needs graphics, promotions, etc., and so on. So with this thought process, I designed my first gamification agent. So version 1 is what I designed. I'm going to show you the quick, it gave me an output. So here the challenge was in a company, they had implemented SAP and the users were not using SAP. They were using their normal systems. So how do we get people to use SAP? So if they use it every day for a month, okay, they would then get scores. So they would get 4 runs. So in cricket, that's the terminology. We get 4 runs. If it is error-free, they would get 6 runs. Okay, and therefore, so this was a progression that they would get. Okay, the rewards was a SAP champ badge which they could use on their table, in their email, etc., and so on. And there were weekly scorecards. So if you also did it for 22 consecutive days, so you would get a score a century. Okay, so this I'm just giving you a quick output of the first assignment that I had, and let me now give you a demo of the actual system. Now, can you see my screen? Game Genie version 2.
No, we see the presentation.
You see the presentation. Then what should I do? We just
share the screen.
stop share. Yeah, just share the screen. Now is it okay? So this is Game Genie, and last time I had a lot of time and I could actually take you through a demo where you put in the challenge and it created its own output. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how I had created this GPT. Okay. So because I'm comfortable sharing it with you because I've now gone into version 4. Okay. So the description suggests employee engagement programs to tackle business challenges. Okay, the GPT is named ChatGPT, specializes in designing gamification programs to improve employee engagement. So here was a limited description. It's about employee engagement, but actually once the user starts responding to it, it talks about behavior change, process change, or business results. Okay, so this is a combination that it does any of these three. Okay, and it you have to follow the process. The process has to be followed exactly in the steps one by one. So first is about understanding the business. So does it have a cadence? For example, Jayadatta just presented a construction project may have a cadence of about 3 years. So there's an annual cadence to it. But if you're in a sales organization, you'll normally have a quarterly cadence. So that was the first thing about the business cadence, because accordingly it will design the program. Then what is the business objective you want to achieve? So, like for example, SAP, people need to use it every day. Okay, once my belief is that if they do it for 1 month consecutively, it'll become a habit. So that was the thing. Is it a behavior change, a process change, improving? Okay. Is it an individual or a team challenge? Okay. And so this is the whole design that we had. And importantly, out there, what I had done is that I had also got it to, I had a whole library that I had put into it. So it would take information only from that particular library. It would not race to the internet. Okay. So that is uh, where it is. Let me just come back to my presentation. Now, I had passed it on to a particular company in Europe. They were a energy-based consulting, and so they used it, and this gave them a consolidated design document. Let me just put it into. So this was a consolidated design document that it gave. Notice carefully, I had asked it to put copyright Rudolf D'Souza, and it had also given from where it had taken the sources. So if you see the key recommendations, etc., there are certain sources that it is mentioned in there, like chapter 7, chapter 11, etc., and so on, so this was the entire design that it had given. Okay. And it was a bit clunky. Let me give you the feedback at that stage. It was a bit annoying because the questions kept coming up, but it's still good questions. They did not manage to get the output that they desired. Okay, so it got stuck in a loop. So this was a bit clunky at the initial stage, but it helped them to create a blueprint from which they then were able to move forward. So learning from that, I have now gone into version 4. I have put in books like Nudge, then Daniel Kahneman's System 1, System 2 thinking, etc. And recently, I have designed an AI efficiency challenge for an organization. As you are aware, that tokens are a big challenge, that there is a certain budget that companies have. So they're wondering that how can gamification help them to reduce the number of tokens. So we designed this entire AI efficiency challenge. What I want to point out here is that this then created a one pager for the management, okay, mentioning what the goal is, then the objectives, why it matters. It's said something, why it matters, so actually these are the objectives: to use AI objective wisely, create more value, okay, work smarter, etc. Now, on the left-hand side, how it works, the entire this thing stage-wise it is given, and it also created a graphical interface that how the entire journey goes through. Okay, it's a 5-stage journey. What I want to point out is this gold card. Now, instead of announcing tokens or restricting tokens, it gave me an idea that why don't we have a gold card, and based on the complexity of the project that the employees are taking, they will be allotted tokens rather than per employee how many tokens. And there's also a gold card where management can override and give them extra tokens. So that was an idea that came up because it's a generative program. And importantly, down here, if you see our values in action. So I had also asked it to look at the organization. So you put an organization documents, a values. So this organizations had as its key values collaboration, celebration, and creating a better future. So it has included all these into it. So I thought I'll just share this. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Moria, I hope I'm on time.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much, Jayadatta and Rudy. And I want to go back to my presentation, and I'll share a very short example so that we are left with time for the tips. So I have several examples, but I want to speak with you about an example that I think is relevant to many organizations. One of the organizations that I'm working with found that the lessons are not good enough. They're shallow, they're not convincing, they're not generalized, etc., etc., etc. We're speaking about a very high-tech a global company. They're based in Israel, but they work in many countries. They have something like 20,000 employees. They have smart software, engineering solutions, very huge systems. I won't go into all the details, but this was the problem. And for years, I'm teaching groups how to do better debriefing sessions and how to build better lessons. And even though I find that only the QA people at the end of the day are those who actually do it very good, and many people on the tail, or may I say, or some Pareto, do it, but it's not good enough. So I'm showing you an example of something that I've built here. We see here only a demonstration because this is not the actual environment, because it's within the organization and it's classified, but this is a simulation of what we've built together. So here you can see I'm here to help sharpen professional insights so they are clear, actionable, and useful in the future situations. We're not going into all the details of what are all the business rules in order to make a good session. Please share one insight at a time and I'll help refine it. If we come up with several, it will take us back. This is only part of an agent because we have sub-agents. It's an environment that helps also to go down to the root cause, that help to do all kinds of actions on the way. But we're showing here a specific problem of how to make the lesson itself better. So here's what the user writes down. I made it bigger so that it will be easier to read. In the design process, and this is a real example from a real situation from 2 weeks ago. In the design process, it is important to adhere to the manufacturer's guidelines or whatever. I don't remember what was the end. And here is, after a discussion between them, the suggestion of what should be the title, what should be the insight, including a context, what to do, why to do it, and what are the tags. asking again and again, are we satisfied with the wording or do we want to refine it further? And then we go from one to the other and check and improve the lessons that the users have been working on. So this was a short example. The prompt itself is 5 pages, so I didn't translate it, all of it, but it includes, and here is what I wanted to show you, it includes the operations, the instructions, how to discuss with the user, how to break down, and here are already guidelines, how to build an agent, how to break down requests into going one by one, each one doing them iteratively again and again until the user is satisfied, answering in the correct language, in the correct context of the type of the organization, etc., etc. All of these have to do with the operation. As to the methodology, and I have to give you one tip, the quality of the of your AI agent is as good as your methodology. If you do it quick and dirty, that's how it looks. If 5 people have AI agents for this use of improving lessons, go to the one that has the best manual methodology and inserted this methodology within his agent. Don't go to those who are high-tech people. Go to those who are methodology people. That's why we call them smart agents. So the methodology, the pages, the 5 pages include instructions, how to improve the title, how to make it catchy, how to make it maybe humor-based, how to make it, I'm giving you real examples, how to make it sometimes in rhymes so that it will catch the eye, how to write the context, how to generalize the context, how to write the recommendation, what should be the size and the functionality of the rationale, how not to write a rationale, otherwise everything would be so that we are safe and come back home safely. When to include example, when not to, and after the tagging. So that was very fast so that we stand in time. And this is how AI helped me. I couldn't find it. I'm sorry that the pictures are not better, but with the time frame I had, this is the best I did. So now I'm turning to you, Jayadatta. Do you want to share one of your tips how to build a good AI agent?
Yeah, so in my own experience, I've discovered it was quite an iterative process. And like Moria, like the way you mentioned, the methodology comes first. The technology aspect, anyways, is there. But ensuring that you first have the methodology down pat, and then iterating multiple times is something that's helped. I also cheat a bit by using multiple different providers, and then maybe running the prompt through all of them and taking inputs. So you take a prompt from ChatGPT, run it to Gemini, ask it to evaluate, ask it to improve, then run it to Claude. So that also has helped in fine tuning. And I think one final thing is that you need to be careful about the guardrails to ensure that the knowledge of the agent is grounded into the context of the organization, and it's strongly prevented from using non-contextual information depending on what the scenario is.
Thank you so much, Jayadatta. Rudy, may you share some of your tips?
Yeah, so one of the things, because I was looking a lot at tacit knowledge, I had to really use a lot of iterations. So version 1 came out okay, and so I was able to use it. But the main thing is that you have to keep testing it all the time and sending it to different people, getting their inputs. So because at the end of the day, mine is going to be a user output. And I got a lot of good feedback. So that's why the organizational context came into it. And I do not allow it to go outside the search on the internet. It tends to hallucinate and bring in a lot of irrelevant stuff. So that is one of the things. And I remember what you had told me, that all your the books, etc., that I do, I put into LLM. I then created a synopsis of that and I put it back into my GPT, and that is how it is able to generate the output much faster. Otherwise, it becomes very inefficient. It keeps searching and through the entire text, etc. So that was one thing. And what Jayadatta mentioned, I do go to Claude, etc., and all, I recheck the prompts and I keep sharpening it. I find Claude is very good for that. Unfortunately, I don't have a license for Claude. Maybe I would have liked to use it, but it's a bit expensive in India. So I continue with ChatGPT, and I find that the output has really gone up, scaled up as far as ChatGPT is concerned, as well as using other agents like Gemini, Claude, etc.
Thank you. So I'll also share some of my tips. Of course, all the images here were done with AI, all the screen sets you've seen here along the meeting with all the AI agents. But first of all, what we can see here is ROM's environment, where we can find also 10 different 10 different AI agents for KMers, which you are free to use as an initial level, of course, through some tokens. You can just write, you can go to it or ask me later on to get the website link. And we have here within it best practices, how to work. And if I'll go into the best practices, I'll go into the environment, just 1 minute. You will find here best practices that if I go down and ask for generative AI best practices, you will get here 16 different best practices on how to work with these agents. I want to share only one even that isn't here with you. It's very tempting, and I want to relate, Udi, to what you sent me yesterday or the day before, reading an article saying that there are lots of code problems with AI generated code. And I want to say that it's very tempting when we build our AI agents to use AI in order to build them. Because I could have gone to Claude or Gemini and asked them, what or how should I generate my best AI agent for this topic? And what I would get from it, think about the bell curve. I would get the middle, I would get the average, I would get the most common used knowledge that's okay for a junior, for a starter. But we want the expert behind our shoulder. So why these look very impressive and very good. And in the beginning, we built all our agents coming with our ideas, but getting too convinced by how AI gives us his ideas to do it better. We now do it differently, using AI only to refine, but using our knowledge and the experts' knowledge in order to take it to new records, to new heights, to new peaks, because that's what will make an AI agent better. And I want to end and say that nowadays, whenever we run a expert capture knowledge project, where we go to experts and do some knowledge retention projects, each one of these have a phase where we ask ourselves, after we captured the knowledge, the tacit knowledge, the explicit knowledge, the knowledge that wasn't documented, was documented but wasn't organized, and we have a body of knowledge, we ask ourselves, where can an AI smart agent help us so this knowledge will not stay only textual, but will turn into a capability? And that's how we can take our AI agents to a next stage. Wow, I'm afraid we don't have time for Q&A because we are a minute to the end. This was a very condensed session. So Ved, I'm returning it back to you. Thank you for the opportunity. On behalf of Jayadatta, Hudi, and myself, thank you. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Moria, Jayadatta, and Rudolf. I think really revealing kind of a session for many of us who have not really built any AI agents, but we can see the power of these agents and probably the power that we have in our hands if we make effective use of the tools at our disposal, including the free versions, right? Whether it is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, etc. So I think that certainly motivates us to go and try it out ourselves. Start with some real easy use cases and then go further. And thanks, Moria, for sharing all those agents that you showed on the screen. We'll certainly reach out to see if we can see what's happening behind the doors in building those agents. So thank you all. And there are a few questions that we are seeing in the chat window. Probably, David Williams and Pramit Singh had posed a few questions, but I don't think we have the time to take them. So I know Jayadatta and Pramit are already connected, but for the benefit of everyone, if you could message me responses, any of you, I can put it when I publish on LinkedIn about this particular session. And a recording of this session will be hosted on KMGN YouTube channel. So I'll again intimate on that. Probably it will happen in the next few days. So thank you again and look forward to seeing you in the next event organized by KM Global Network. So keep tuned. Thank you and have a great day.
And great night
Bye-bye.
wherever you are.